The morning sun peeked through the curtains of Lily's bedroom, casting a warm glow on the collection of birthday decorations she had spent weeks picking out. Today was her 12th birthday, and despite everything that had happened in the past 6 months, she couldn't help but feel a flutter of excitement in her chest. Knock, knock, a deep voice called from the doorway. Her father, Robert Chen, CEO of Horizon Technologies, stood there with a small wrapped package in his hands and a tentative smile on his face. "Happy birthday, sweetheart." Lily pushed herself up in bed, adjusting her position before reaching for the remote control that operated her motorized wheelchair beside the bed. "Thanks, Dad," she said, her voice soft but warm. "Is that for me?" "Just a little something to start the day," Robert said, crossing the room and perching on the edge of her bed. He handed her the package, wrapped in silver paper with tiny stars. "The big presents will come later at the party." The party. Lily felt her stomach tighten with a mixture of hope and anxiety. It would be her first real social gathering since the accident that had left her paralyzed from the waist down. 6 months ago, their family trip to the mountains had ended in tragedy when their car skidded on black ice. Lily had suffered a spinal cord injury, and life as she knew it had changed forever. Robert watched as his daughter carefully unwrapped the package, revealing a delicate silver bracelet with a single charm, a small wheelchair with wings. "To remind you that nothing can keep you from flying," he explained, his voice catching slightly. Lily ran her finger over the charm, a small smile playing on her lips. "It's perfect, Dad," she whispered. She didn't add that what she really wanted couldn't be wrapped in a box. To have her friends back, to feel normal again, to be included rather than pitied or forgotten. The house staff were already busy downstairs, transforming their sprawling backyard into a birthday wonderland. Robert had spared no expense, hiring the best event planner in the city, ordering food from Lily's favorite restaurants, and even booking a famous local band that teenagers her age loved. Money couldn't solve all problems, but Robert desperately hoped it could buy his daughter a day of happiness. "Ms. Rivera is waiting to help you get ready," Robert said, referring to Lily's physical therapist who had become something of a personal assistant as well. "And I need to make sure everything is perfect downstairs. The guests will start arriving at 2. After her father left, Lily transferred herself from the bed to her wheelchair with practiced movements. She had become quite good at it, though there were still days when the effort left her in tears of frustration. Today wouldn't be one of those days, she promised herself. Today she would be strong and happy and normal, or at least, she would pretend to be. Ms. Rivera helped her shower and dress in the new outfit they had chosen together. A pretty blue dress with a flowing skirt that concealed the thin legs that no longer supported her weight. As Ms. Rivera brushed and styled her long, dark hair, Lily scrolled through her phone, checking for messages from her classmates. 23 people RSVP'd yes, she told Ms. Rivera, trying to sound casual. "That's good, right?" "That's wonderful," Ms. Rivera assured her, securing a silver clip in Lily's hair. "It's going to be a great party." But even as she said it, Lily noticed a new message from Zoe, who had once been her best friend. "So sorry, can't make it after all. Family emergency. Happy birthday." It was the third cancellation this morning. Downstairs, Robert was on the phone with the event planner, reviewing last-minute details while simultaneously checking work emails. Since the accident, he had thrown himself into his company with even more intensity than before, as if business success could somehow make up for his failure to protect his daughter. His wife had left them both 3 years ago, choosing her career overseas over family life, which made him feel even more responsible for Lily's happiness. "Dad, is everything okay?" Lily asked as she wheeled herself into the kitchen. She had gotten quite good at navigating the house in her chair, especially since Robert had renovated their home to be fully accessible. Robert quickly ended his call and pocketed his phone. "Everything's perfect, sweetie. Wait until you see the backyard. There's a chocolate fountain and a photo booth and a ramp to the stage so I can join in if I want to," Lily interrupted. A flash of pain crossed Robert's face. "Of course. Everything is accessible. I made sure of it." Lily nodded, wheeling herself to the window that overlooked the backyard. It truly was spectacular. Strings of lights hung from trees, colorful balloons bobbed in the breeze, and a small stage had been set up on the lawn. A banner with "Happy 12th Birthday, Lily," written in glittering letters, stretched across the patio. "It's beautiful, Dad," she said, and meant it. Thank you. As the clock ticked closer to 2 o'clock, Lily positioned herself near the front door, eager to greet her guests. She had spent hours thinking about what she would say, how she would act, determined to show everyone that she was still the same Lily they had known before, just sitting down now. The first hour passed with no arrivals. Robert made excuses about traffic and people always being late to parties. Lily checked her phone repeatedly, watching as more messages rolled in with last-minute cancellations. Sorry, got the flu. Can't make it, Grandma in town. Something came up, happy B-Day though. By 3 o'clock, not a single guest had arrived. The caterers exchanged uncomfortable glances. The band members stood awkwardly by their instruments, and Lily sat in her wheelchair trying desperately not to cry. Maybe there was confusion about the date, Robert suggested, though they both knew that wasn't true. The invitations had been clear, the follow-up messages thorough. The truth was harder to face. Since her accident, Lily had become invisible to her former friends. The popular girl who once led the school's debate team and played first violin in the orchestra was now the girl in the wheelchair, the one who made others uncomfortable with her different needs and obvious struggles. Her classmates had moved on without her during her months of recovery, forming new friendships and inside jokes that left no room for a girl who couldn't join their games or climb the stairs to their favorite hangout spots. Robert made frantic phone calls, even offering to send his company cars to pick up guests. But the excuses continued. He called the parents directly, only to hear more vague explanations and hollow apologies. "Dad, stop," Lily finally said, her voice quiet but firm. "It's okay. We can just have a family party, you and me." But it wasn't okay, and they both knew it. The extravagant party stood as a monument to all that had changed in their lives. The friends who had disappeared, the normal childhood that had been stolen, the future that now looked so different from what they had imagined. As the afternoon wore on, Lily wheeled herself out to the empty party area. The untouched food, silent band, and swaying balloons created a scene that was almost surreal in its sadness. She picked up a cupcake and placed a single candle in it. "Make a wish," Robert said, coming up behind her with a lighter. Lily closed her eyes as he lit the candle. What could she wish for? To walk again? For her old friends to care about her? For her father to look at her without that shadow of guilt in his eyes? Just as she was about to blow out the candle, the distant sound of their doorbell echoed across the yard. Robert and Lily looked at each other, a spark of hope passing between them. "I'll go see who it is," Robert said, hurrying toward the house. Lily waited, heart pounding. Had someone come after all? She tried not to get her hopes up, telling herself it was probably just a delivery or someone who had gotten the wrong address. When Robert returned, he wasn't alone. Walking beside him was a boy about Lily's age, thin and tall with warm brown skin and curious eyes. He wore jeans and a faded t-shirt that had seen better days, and in his hands was a small, homemade card that looked like it had been carefully crafted from whatever materials were available. "Lily," her father said, "this is Ty. He says he's here for your party." The boy stepped forward, looking a bit nervous but with a genuine smile that reached his eyes. "Sorry I'm late," he said, holding out the card. "Happy birthday." In that moment, something shifted in Lily's world. She didn't know it yet, but this unexpected guest, this boy who had come when no one else would, was about to change everything. Lily stared at the boy standing before her, this unexpected guest who had somehow found his way to her empty party. She felt a mix of emotions, surprise, curiosity, and a lingering embarrassment that he was witnessing her failed celebration. "I'm Ty," the boy said again, shifting his weight from one foot to the other. "Ty Wilson. My mom cleans houses in this neighborhood. She mentioned there was supposed to be a big party here today." He glanced around at the elaborate decorations, the untouched food, and the band members who were now quietly packing up their instruments. "Looks like I missed it." "You didn't miss anything," Lily said, her voice soft but steady. "Nobody came." Ty's eyebrows shot up in genuine surprise. "Nobody? But..." He gestured at the chocolate fountain, the photo booth, the game station set up around the yard. "This looks amazing. Why wouldn't they come?" Robert cleared his throat, clearly uncomfortable. "Well, we had some last-minute cancellations. You know how these things go." He was trying to save his daughter's dignity, but the truth hung in the air between them. "Because I'm in this, Ellie said bluntly, tapping the arm of her wheelchair. "Things changed after the accident. Ty looked at her wheelchair for the first time, seeming to really notice it. But unlike most people who quickly averted their eyes or adopted that pitying expression Lily had come to hate, Ty just nodded thoughtfully. "That's messed up," he said simply. "People can be real jerks sometimes." A small laugh escaped Lily's lips, surprising even herself. It felt good to hear someone say out loud what she had been thinking for months. "Well," Robert said, clapping his hands together with forced enthusiasm, "we still have plenty of food and games. Ty, would you like to stay for a while? We'd love to have you join us." Ty looked uncertain. "I don't want to intrude on your family time." "Please stay," Lily said, surprising herself with how much she meant it. "Otherwise it's just me and my dad and about 50 cupcakes." Ty's face broke into a wide grin. "Well, when you put it like that, how can I say no? I'm pretty good at eating cupcakes." And just like that, the party that wasn't a party began. Robert asked the band to stay for another hour, paying them extra. The three musicians exchanged glances, shrugged, and began to play again. This time not the pop hits they'd prepared, but something mellower that fit the smaller gathering. Ty helped himself to a plate of food, piling it high with mini sandwiches, fruit skewers, and chips. "This is better than any birthday I've ever had," he admitted between bites. "Last year my mom got me a cupcake from the grocery store and we split it." Lily found herself studying this boy who talked so openly about things most kids at her school would be embarrassed to admit. "Where do you live?" she asked. "Pine Grove Apartments," Ty replied, naming the subsidized housing complex about a mile away. "It's not fancy, but it's home." Robert, who had been hovering nearby, seemed to relax a bit seeing the two kids talking. "I'm going to check with the kitchen about the cake. You two okay out here?" Lily nodded, and as her father walked away, she felt a strange sense of relief. For the first time in months, someone was treating her like a normal kid, not a fragile thing that might break. "So," Ty said, settling into a chair across from her, "what do you like to do for fun?" The question was so ordinary, so refreshingly free of pity or awkwardness that Lily found herself smiling. "Before the accident, I played violin. I was pretty good. Now," she trailed off, not wanting to dive into everything she couldn't do anymore. "Now," Ty prompted, "now I read a lot. And I've been learning to code. My dad got me this amazing computer setup that I can use easily." "What about you?" "I draw," Ty said. "Mostly comics. And I'm into astronomy. I've got this old telescope I found at a yard sale. The view from our apartment roof isn't great with all the city lights, but I can still see the moon and some planets." "Really? My dad has a telescope we never use. It's probably gathering dust somewhere in the house." They fell into an easy conversation about stars and planets, finding common ground in their fascination with space, when Robert returned with the birthday cake, 3 tiers of chocolate with Lily's name written in silver icing. They were deep in a debate about whether humans would ever colonize Mars. "Cake time," Robert announced, his relief at seeing his daughter animated and engaged evident in his voice. As they sang Happy Birthday, just the three of them, with the band adding a gentle musical backdrop, Lily felt a warmth spreading through her chest. It wasn't the party she had imagined, but somehow it felt more genuine than any celebration she'd had before. After cake, Ty spotted the game console set up near the outdoor screen. "Do you play?" he asked, nodding toward it. "Sometimes," Lily admitted. "I'm not very good." "I bet I'm worse," Ty challenged with a grin. "We don't have any consoles at home, so I only play at the community center sometimes." They ended up racing virtual cars around fictional tracks, both laughing at their terrible driving skills. Robert watched from a distance, making calls to cancel some of the later activities while ensuring the staff packed up extra food for Ty to take home. As the afternoon wore on, Lily found herself talking more freely than she had in months. She told Ty about the accident, about the surgeries and the physical therapy, about waking up in the hospital and learning she might never walk again. "The worst part isn't even the physical stuff," she confessed as they sat by the koi pond at the edge of the garden. "It's how everyone treats me now. Like I'm made of glass, or like the wheelchair is all they see." Ty nodded, tossing a small pebble into the water and watching the ripples spread. "People don't know what to say, so they say nothing. Or they say stupid things, or they just disappear." "Exactly," Lily said, surprised by how well he understood. "How do you know that?" Ty was quiet for a moment. "My dad died when I was 8, cancer. After that, some people looked at me differently, like I was marked by something bad, like what happened to him might somehow rub off on them. Lily felt a sudden connection to this boy she'd just met. "I'm sorry about your dad," she said softly. Ty shrugged, but his eyes held old pain. "It was 4 years ago. My mom says it gets easier, but you never stop missing them." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the fish swim lazy circles in the pond. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the lawn, and a gentle breeze rustled the paper lanterns hanging from the trees. "Ty," Robert called, approaching them with a canvas bag in his hands. "I've packed some food for you to take home. There's plenty left over." "Thank you, sir," Ty said, standing up. "I should probably get going. My mom will be wondering where I am." Lily felt a sudden panic at the thought of him leaving. The day that had started so terribly had somehow transformed into something special, and she wasn't ready for it to end. "Wait," she said. "Can you come back sometime? Maybe tomorrow? We could use the telescope. My dad could drive you home tonight and pick you up tomorrow." Ty looked surprised, then pleased. "Really, you'd want to hang out again?" "Of course," Lily said. "Unless you don't want to?" "No, I mean, yes, I'd like that," Ty stammered. "But don't you have other friends you'd rather spend time with?" The question hung in the air, brutally honest and yet without malice. Lily appreciated that he didn't pretend not to notice her isolation. "Not anymore, apparently," she said, gesturing to the empty party scene around them. "Besides, I like talking to you. You don't look at me like I'm broken." Robert, who had been standing quietly nearby, stepped forward. "Ty, we'd be happy to have you visit any time. And I'd be glad to arrange transportation. Just let us know what works for your mother." As they walked toward the house, Lily felt lighter than she had in months. The party hadn't gone as planned, not even close, but somehow this unexpected turn of events felt like the beginning of something important. At the front door, Ty handed her the homemade card he'd brought. "Almost forgot to give you this. It's not much, but—" Lily opened it carefully. Inside was a hand-drawn picture of a girl sitting beneath a sky full of stars, with the words "Happy Birthday" written in careful block letters. "It's beautiful," she said, running her fingers over the drawing. "Thank you. For the card or for crashing your party?" Ty asked with a small grin. "For being the only one who showed up," Lily replied honestly. "This turned out to be a pretty good birthday after all." As Robert prepared to drive Ty home, Lily watched from the doorway, thinking about how sometimes the worst disappointments could lead to unexpected blessings. She didn't know it yet, but this strange, empty party was about to change her life in ways she could never have imagined. The next morning, Lily woke up earlier than usual. Sunlight streamed through her bedroom windows as she reached for her phone, checking for messages. There was one from Ty, sent late last night after Robert had dropped him off at Pine Grove Apartments. "Thanks for letting me crash your party. Best cake I've ever had. See you later today?" Lily smiled, typing back quickly. "Definitely. Dad says he can pick you up at 2, is that okay?" She set her phone down and began her morning routine, the careful movements from bed to wheelchair that had become second nature over the past 6 months. As she wheeled herself to the bathroom, she realized she felt different today, lighter somehow. The disappointment of yesterday's empty party still stung, but it had been overshadowed by something unexpected, a new friendship. Downstairs, she found her father already at the kitchen table, laptop open, coffee in hand. Since the accident, he'd been working from home more often, adjusting his CEO schedule to be present for her. Lily knew it wasn't easy for him. The constant video calls, the late-night emails, the pressure of running a major tech company while being a single parent to a child with special needs. She sometimes caught him looking tired in ways that went beyond simple lack of sleep. "Morning, Dad," she said, wheeling herself to the table. Robert looked up, his face brightening. "There's my birthday girl. Well, day after birthday girl now. How did you sleep?" "Good," Lily said and meant it. "Ty's coming at 2, right?" Robert nodded, closing his laptop. "His mother called me this morning. Lovely woman, works 3 cleaning jobs to support them. She was very grateful for the leftovers we sent home. I got the impression they don't have a lot of extra." Lily felt a twinge of something, not quite guilt, but awareness of the vast difference between her life and Ty's. Her father's success meant she had never wanted for anything material, even after the accident. The renovations to make their home accessible, her specialized medical care, the private tutors during her recovery, all of it had been handled without question. The empty party had cost more than what Ty's mother probably earned in months. Dad, she said slowly. Do you think we could do something to help them? Ty and his mom? Robert looked at his daughter with surprise, then pride. What did you have in mind? I don't know exactly, but Ty said his mom works really hard and they don't have much. Maybe we could. She trailed off, not wanting to suggest something that might embarrass her new friend. Tell you what, Robert said. Let's get to know them better first. Make sure whatever we might do would actually be helpful, not just what we think they need. Sometimes people need different kinds of support than we might assume. Lily nodded, appreciating her father's thoughtfulness. He'd always taught her that their family's wealth came with responsibility, but also that helping others required respect for their dignity and agency. The hours until 2 o'clock crawled by. Lily found herself cleaning her room, organizing books she hadn't touched in months, even practicing her violin, something she'd refused to do since coming home from the hospital. The music didn't sound as good as before. Her fingers had lost some of their dexterity, but for the first time she felt maybe that was okay. Maybe she could find her way back to the things she loved, even if they looked different now. When the doorbell rang at exactly 2, Lily was waiting in the foyer. Robert opened the door to reveal Ty and a petite woman with the same warm eyes as her son. Mr. Chen, thank you for having Ty over again, the woman said, her voice soft but dignified. I'm Diane Wilson. Please, call me Robert, Lily's father said, shaking her hand. And it's our pleasure. Ty was the highlight of Lily's birthday yesterday. Diane smiled, though Lily could see the tiredness around her eyes. He told me what happened with the party. I'm sorry for that. Children can be thoughtless sometimes. Or their parents, Robert added quietly. Lily wheeled herself forward. Hi, Ty. Hi, Mrs. Wilson. There she is, Diane said warmly. Happy belated birthday, honey. And please call me Diane. She handed Lily a small package wrapped in newspaper. It's not much, but Ty insisted we bring you something. Lily unwrapped it carefully to find a small dream catcher, its wooden hoop wrapped in colorful thread with feathers dangling below. It's beautiful, she said honestly. Ty made it, Diane explained. He's good with his hands. Ty looked embarrassed. Mom, stop. What? You are, Diane insisted. He makes all sorts of things, dream catchers, friendship bracelets, even fixes our neighbor's broken appliances sometimes. Speaking of fixing things, Robert said, I found that telescope I mentioned, Lily. It needs a bit of cleaning, but it should work fine. It's on the back deck. Great, Lily said. Ty, want to check it out? As the kids headed toward the back of the house, Robert turned to Diane. Can I offer you something to drink? Coffee? Tea? Or something stronger if you're not driving? Diane hesitated. I should get going. I have a house to clean at 3. Just a quick cup of tea? Robert pressed gently. I'd like to thank you properly for raising such a thoughtful son. Not many kids would have shown up to a stranger's party like that. Diane's resolve softened. Tea would be lovely, thank you. Out on the deck, Lily and Ty were examining the dusty telescope that had been a gift from Robert to Lily on her 10th birthday. They had used it a few times, but after the accident it had been forgotten like so many other things. This is serious equipment, Ty said, running his hands over the telescope's body. Way better than my yard sale find. With this you could see the rings of Saturn, the bands on Jupiter, even some deep space objects. Really? Lily asked, watching as he carefully cleaned the lens with a soft cloth he'd found. Absolutely. The sky's going to be clear tonight. We could do some real stargazing. As Ty worked on the telescope, Lily found herself studying him. He wore the same faded jeans as yesterday, but a different t-shirt, this one with a space shuttle on it. Despite what was clearly limited means, there was nothing poor about his knowledge or his confidence. How'd you get so into astronomy? She asked. Ty focused on adjusting a knob before answering. My dad. He loved the stars. Said they reminded him that our problems are pretty small in the grand scheme of things. He paused. After he died, Looking at the stars made me feel like he was still around somehow. Lily nodded, understanding. After my accident, I stopped doing a lot of things I loved. It felt like if I couldn't do them exactly the same way, there was no point. That makes sense, Ty said, surprising her. Most people rushed to tell her she shouldn't feel that way. But maybe there are new ways to do old things, or new things altogether. Inside the house, Robert and Diane sat at the kitchen table, cups of tea between them. Robert had just finished explaining the accident that had left Lily paralyzed. It's been hard for her, he concluded. The physical challenges are difficult enough, but the social isolation has been worse. Kids her age don't know how to handle it. Their parents aren't much better. Diane nodded knowingly. People fear what they don't understand, or what reminds them of their own vulnerability. She took a sip of tea. After my husband died, we lost friends too. Not because anyone was cruel necessarily, but sadness makes people uncomfortable. They don't know what to say, so they say nothing. Exactly, Robert said, surprised by how well this woman he'd just met understood their situation. I've tried everything to help Lily adjust, renovated the house, hired the best therapists, arranged for private schooling, but I can't fix the thing that hurts her most, being treated differently, being left out. Some things money can't solve, Diane said gently, though I admit it can make other things easier. She smiled wryly. But kids have a way of cutting through all that. Ty doesn't see Lily's wheelchair first. He sees another kid who might share his interests. Robert nodded, thoughtful. Your son is remarkable. You've done an amazing job raising him on your own. We do our best, Diane said. It hasn't been easy, especially after losing my husband. But Ty has his father's heart, kind, curious, always looking for the good in people. Through the window they could see the kids on the deck, heads bent together over the telescope laughing about something. It was the most animated Robert had seen his daughter in months. Diane, he said carefully, I hope you won't take this the wrong way, but I'd like to do something to thank Ty for what he's done for Lily. Would you be open to that? Diane's expression grew cautious. We don't need charity, Mr. Chen. Robert, please. And it's not charity. It's gratitude. Your son gave my daughter something I couldn't buy her, a genuine connection, a friend who sees her for who she is, not what happened to her. Diane studied him for a moment. What did you have in mind? I'm not sure yet, Robert admitted. But perhaps we could start with dinner, all four of us. I'm a terrible cook, but I know some good restaurants. Or we could order in, whatever makes everyone comfortable. After a moment, Diane nodded. That sounds nice, though I should warn you Ty can eat his weight in pizza. They both laughed, the tension broken. Outside, Lily called through the open door. Dad, Diane, come look. Ty fixed the telescope. As the adults joined the children on the deck, something shifted in the atmosphere between them, the beginning of a connection that would soon grow into something none of them could have anticipated. Four people from different worlds, brought together by chance in a birthday party that almost wasn't. That evening, as they gathered around the telescope under a star-filled sky, Robert watched his daughter's face light up with wonder as Ty pointed out constellations and planets. He caught Diane's eye across the deck and saw in her expression the same cautious hope he felt, that perhaps from the most unexpected beginnings, something beautiful could grow. Over the next few weeks, a new routine emerged. Ty would come over to Lily's house after school 3 or 4 times a week. Sometimes they'd stargaze if the night was clear. Other times they'd play video games, watch movies, or just talk for hours about everything and nothing, the way only true friends can. Robert made sure Ty always had a ride, either picking him up himself or sending his driver when work demanded his attention. At first, Diane had been hesitant about the arrangement, worried that her son might be imposing or that the relationship between the families was unbalanced. But seeing the positive change in Ty, his growing confidence, his excitement about learning, gradually eased her concerns. One afternoon in late September, about a month after the birthday party, Lily was waiting for Ty in the garden. The weather was perfect, warm sunshine with a gentle breeze that rustled the leaves just beginning to hint at fall colors. She had been working on a surprise, pushing herself in physical therapy to master a new skill. When Ty arrived, she greeted him with a broad smile. "Watch this," she said, maneuvering her wheelchair to the gentle slope of the garden path. With practiced movements, she turned her chair around and, using only her arms, lifted the front wheels slightly off the ground. "A wheelie!" Ty exclaimed, clapping as she balanced perfectly. "That's awesome!" Lily held the position for several seconds before carefully lowering the wheels. "My physical therapist has been helping me practice. She says it's useful for curbs and small obstacles." "It looks really cool too," Ty said appreciatively. "Like skate. Board tricks, but with a chair." His casual comparison made Lily laugh. That was what she loved about Ty. He never tiptoed around her disability or treated it as something to be ignored. Instead, he acknowledged it simply as part of who she was, neither defining her nor diminishing her. "I have something for you," Ty said, pulling a small package from his backpack. It was wrapped in brown paper with a pencil drawing of stars on it. "Made it in art class." Lily unwrapped it to find a small wooden frame containing a hand-drawn star map. "It's the sky exactly as it looked on your birthday," Ty explained. "I used an astronomy program at the school library to get the positions right." "This is beautiful," Lily said, tracing the constellations with her finger. "Thank you." Inside the house, Robert was on a video call in his home office when Diane arrived. She now cleaned the Chen house once a week. Not because they needed another housekeeper, but because Robert had insisted on hiring her properly after learning she was taking on too many jobs to make ends meet. He paid her well above the going rate, and though Diane had initially resisted what she perceived as charity, she eventually accepted that the arrangement benefited them both. Robert ended his call and stepped into the hallway. "Diane, good to see you. The kids are in the garden." "Thanks," she said, setting down her cleaning supplies. "I'll just peek in on them before I start." Ty's been talking nonstop about some science project they're working on together. "Lily, too," Robert smiled. "Something about growing crystals?" "My kitchen counter has been taken over by jars of mysterious solutions," Diane laughed. "Better than my bathroom." Ty's been experimenting with homemade rockets in the tub. The neighbors below us are getting concerned about the thumping. As they walked toward the garden doors, Robert hesitated. "Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something, if you have a moment." Diane's expression grew cautious, but she nodded. "Of course." "It's about school," Robert said, leading her to the kitchen where he poured them both coffee. "Lily's private school has an excellent science program. They have a planetarium, advanced labs, the works. I was thinking, would you consider letting Ty apply? They have a scholarship program, but honestly, I'd be happy to cover the tuition." Diane's back straightened. "Robert, I know," he said quickly, holding up his hands. "It sounds like charity. But it's not. Ty has an extraordinary mind, especially for science. Lily says he's basically teaching their whole class about astronomy." Her words were, "He knows more than our teacher." Diane sipped her coffee, considering. "The public school he's at now isn't bad. His teachers say he's gifted, but they don't have resources for advanced students." "Exactly," Robert said. "This isn't about money or me trying to, I don't know, pay for my daughter's friendship. It's about giving a brilliant kid the tools he deserves." Through the window, they could see Lily and Ty hunched over a notebook, pointing at something and laughing. Diane watched them for a long moment. "I'll think about it," she finally said. "I'd need to talk to Ty, and I'd want to visit the school, see it for myself." "Of course," Robert agreed quickly. "They have an open house next Friday. We could go together." Outside, unaware of the adults' conversation, Lily and Ty were planning their crystal growing experiment. "If we use copper sulfate, we'll get blue crystals," Ty explained, sketching in the notebook. "Alum makes clear ones, and Epsom salt makes these cool needle shapes." "Let's try all three," Lily suggested. "We can set up a time-lapse camera to record them growing," Ty grinned. "Your dad is going to regret buying you that fancy camera setup." "Probably," Lily agreed, "but he'll pretend to be excited anyway. He's been like that since the accident, trying so hard to make everything okay." Ty set down his pencil. "Parents do that. After my dad died, my mom would act super cheerful even when I knew she'd been crying. Like if she pretended hard enough, it wouldn't hurt so much. Lily nodded, understanding completely. Does it ever stop hurting? Missing him? Ty looked up at the sky, thinking. Not really. But it changes. Like at first it's this huge pain that takes up everything. Then slowly it becomes just one part of your life, not the whole thing. He paused. I think it's the same with your legs. The not walking doesn't go away, but maybe someday it won't be the biggest thing about you. Lily felt tears prick her eyes, but they weren't sad tears. How did you get so wise for a 12-year-old? Almost 13, Ty corrected with a smirk. And I read a lot of comics. Superheroes are always dealing with trauma. The next day at school was harder than usual for Lily. She had returned to her private school 2 months after the accident, and while the administration had made the building accessible and the teachers were supportive, the social landscape remained challenging. Most of her former friends maintained a polite distance, inviting her to sit with them at lunch but rarely including her in weekend plans or study groups. As she wheeled herself into science class, she noticed a group of girls whispering and glancing her way. Amy, once her closest friend, broke away from the group and approached. "Hey, Lily," she said, her voice overly bright. "How are you?" "I'm good," Lily replied cautiously. "So, is it true that kid from Pine Grove has been hanging out at your house?" Amy asked, trying to sound casual but not quite succeeding. Lily felt a flare of defensiveness. "His name is Ty, and yes, we're friends." Amy's eyebrows rose. "Friends? Like real friends, or your dad is paying him or something?" "What?" Lily's voice came out sharper than intended. "Why would you say that?" Amy shrugged, looking uncomfortable. "I don't know. My mom said something about your dad always trying to fix things with money, and how it was interesting he found a charity case right when you needed a friend." Hot anger rose in Lily's chest. Ty is not a charity case. He's smart and kind and a better friend than anyone who bailed on my birthday party. She took a deep breath, trying to control her emotions. "And for the record, he came to my party on his own. Nobody paid him. He was the only one who showed up." Amy had the grace to look ashamed. "I wanted to come, but my mom said—" "I don't care what your mom said," Lily interrupted. "You could have come anyway. You could have called. You could have done literally anything other than pretend I don't exist since this happened." She gestured to her wheelchair. The teacher called the class to order then, saving Amy from responding. But as Lily took her place at the accessible desk at the front of the room, she felt something shift inside her. The hurt of rejection was still there, but it was joined by something new, a sense of her own worth, independent of what her classmates thought of her. That afternoon, as Robert drove her home, Lily was quieter than usual. "Tough day?" he asked gently. Lily stared out the window for a moment before answering. "The kids at school found out about Ty. They said some stupid things." Robert's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "What kind of things?" "That you're paying him to be my friend. That he's a charity case." She made air quotes with her fingers. Robert's jaw clenched. "That's completely unacceptable. I'll call the school—" "No, Dad," Lily interrupted. "That'll just make it worse. Besides, I handled it." "You did?" Robert glanced at her, surprised. "Yeah. I told them Ty is a better friend than any of them have been." She looked down at her hands. "But it got me thinking. We are helping Ty and his mom a lot. With rides and dinner and stuff. Is that weird?" Robert was quiet for a moment, considering his words carefully. "Friends help each other, Lily. That's not weird or wrong. We have resources that make some things easier, like transportation or having space for experiments. Ty and Diane give us things too. They've brought joy back into our home, reminded us how to laugh again. That's just as valuable as anything we could provide." Lily nodded slowly. "I think I want to go back to the rehab center, the one with the adaptive sports program." The sudden change of subject caught Robert off guard. "Really? You said you hated it there." "I did," Lily admitted, "but Ty said something that made me think. About how my disability is part of me now, but it doesn't have to be the biggest part." She looked at her father directly. "I want to try the wheelchair basketball team. Ty found videos online. It looks kind of amazing, actually." Robert felt his throat tighten with emotion. "If that's what you want, we'll make it happen." As they pulled into their driveway, Lily spotted Ty sitting on the front steps, waiting. He jumped up and waved as the car approached. "He has a key, you know," Robert said with a smile. "He doesn't have to wait outside." "I know," Lily said. "But he says his mom taught him it's rude to enter someone's house when they're not home, even if you have a key. Robert nodded approvingly. Diane's raised a gentleman. As Lily wheeled herself from the car toward her friend, she felt a newfound certainty settling in her heart. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. There would be more difficult days at school, more physical challenges to overcome, more moments of grief for the life she'd lost. But for the first time since the accident, the future looked bright with possibility rather than shadowed by loss. And it had all begun with an empty birthday party and an unexpected knock at the door. 6 months had passed since Lily's birthday party. The winter snow had melted away, giving rise to a vibrant spring that seemed to mirror the transformation in their lives. The Chen household, once quiet and somber, now regularly echoed with laughter and conversation. Tai had indeed applied to Lily's private school, passing the entrance exams with such flying colors that the school offered him a full academic scholarship without Robert's intervention. He started in January, and though the transition from public to private education hadn't been without challenges, his natural intelligence and Lily's steadfast support had helped him adapt quickly. On this particular Saturday morning in April, Lily was getting ready for an important event, her first wheelchair basketball tournament. She had joined the Rehabilitation Center's team 3 months ago, and what had started as a tentative experiment had blossomed into a genuine passion. The physical demands of the sport had strengthened her upper body, and the camaraderie with other young people who used wheelchairs had given her a community that understood her daily challenges without defining her by them. Nervous? Robert asked, leaning against her doorframe as she packed her sports bag. A little, Lily admitted, adjusting her team jersey. Coach says I might actually get to play today, not just sit on the sidelines. That's fantastic. Robert beamed with pride. The practice is paying off. Lily nodded, zipping up her bag. Ty's been helping me with the drills in the driveway. He says my ball handling skills are not completely terrible now. Robert laughed. High praise indeed. Downstairs, the doorbell rang. That'll be them, Lily said, her face lighting up as she wheeled herself toward the hallway. Since Diane had started working full-time as the office manager at Robert's company, a position she had earned through her exceptional organizational skills and work ethic, the two families had fallen into a comfortable routine of carpooling and shared meals. Ty and Diane stood at the door, both wearing t-shirts in the colors of Lily's team. Ty had even painted his face with the team mascot, a fierce tiger in orange and black. Wow, Lily laughed when she saw him. That's dedication. Go Tigers. Ty whooped, pumping his fist in the air. We're your official cheering section. Mom made signs too. Diane held up 2 poster boards with Go Lily, written in glittering letters. Too much? She asked with a smile. It's perfect, Lily said, feeling a rush of gratitude for these people who had become so central to her life. As they loaded into Robert's SUV, specially modified to accommodate Lily's wheelchair, Ty chatted excitedly about the upcoming game. I've been watching videos of professional wheelchair basketball. It's intense. These players can move faster than regular basketball sometimes, and the way they maneuver the chairs while dribbling is crazy skilled. Don't get your hopes up too high for my performance, Lily warned. I'm still learning. You'll be great, Ty assured her. And anyway, it's your first tournament. Just being there is a win. The Rehabilitation Center's gymnasium was buzzing with activity when they arrived. Teams from 3 different cities had gathered for the youth tournament, with players ranging from 10 to 16 years old. Lily's team, the Tigers, would be playing against the Eagles in the first round. As Lily joined her teammates for warm-ups, Robert, Diane, and Ty found seats in the bleachers. Robert noticed Ty scanning the crowd with a slight frown. Everything okay? He asked. Ty hesitated before answering. I was just wondering if any kids from school would come. Lily said she told some people about it. Robert and Diane exchanged glances. They both knew that despite Lily's academic success and growing confidence, her social situation at school remained complicated. Some of her old friends had gradually reconnected with her, but many still kept their distance, unsure how to relate to her new reality. Let's focus on being the loudest cheering section here, Diane suggested, unfolding her sign. Quality over quantity. The first game began with Lily on the bench, watching intently as her teammates maneuvered their specialized sports wheelchairs across the court. The play was fast and physical, with chairs colliding and players executing impressive moves to maintain possession while propelling themselves. Halfway through the second quarter, the coach called Lily's name. "Chen, you're in for Miguel." Lily's heart raced as she wheeled herself onto the court, taking her position as the team had practiced. The first few minutes were a blur of motion and noise, the squeak of wheels on polished wood, teammates calling for passes, the crowd cheering. Lily found herself caught up in the flow of the game, her months of practice kicking in as she positioned her chair to block an opponent, then raced down the court when her team gained possession. "Lily, here!" called her teammate Danny, passing her the ball. The weight of the basketball felt familiar in her hands as she dribbled, maneuvering her chair with practiced precision. An opposing player moved to block her, but using a spin move she'd practiced countless times with Ty. She pivoted her chair and found a clear path to the basket. Without overthinking, she took the shot. The swish of the net was almost drowned out by the eruption from the bleachers where Ty was on his feet, jumping and cheering wildly. "That's my friend," he shouted, pointing at Lily. "That's my best friend." Lily couldn't stop the grin that spread across her face as her teammates high-fived her on the way back down the court. She glanced at the bleachers to see not only Ty, Diane, and her father cheering, but also, surprisingly, a small group of kids from her school, including Amy, who gave her a tentative thumbs up. The Tigers lost the game by 6 points, but for Lily the day felt like nothing but victory. As players and families mingled after the tournament, Amy and 2 other girls from school approached cautiously. "That was really cool," Amy said. "I didn't know wheelchair basketball was so intense." "Thanks for coming," Lily replied, genuinely touched by their presence. "Ty told us about it," one of the other girls explained. "He's been talking about how awesome you are at practice." Lily glanced at Ty, who shrugged with a half smile. "Just telling the truth." Later that evening, the 4 of them, Lily, Ty, Robert, and Diane, sat around the Chen's dining table, celebrating with pizza and ice cream. The conversation flowed easily, punctuated by laughter and playful debates about the best moments of the game. As Robert cleared the dishes, Diane helped Lily serve the ice cream. "I'm proud of you," she said quietly. "Not just for today, but for everything these past months. You've shown real courage." "I couldn't have done it without you guys," Lily replied honestly. "Especially Ty. He never once treated me like I was broken." Across the table, Ty was deep in conversation with Robert about a science competition the school was hosting next month. His eyes shone with excitement as he described their project idea, a device that would use star patterns to help people navigate without electronics. "I think we could actually build a working prototype," he explained enthusiastically. "Lily's been helping with the programming part." Robert nodded approvingly. "That sounds impressive. Let me know if you need any materials or equipment." As they finished dessert, Robert tapped his glass with a spoon to get everyone's attention. "I have an announcement," he said, his expression serious but with an undercurrent of excitement. "As you know, I've been thinking about ways to make a broader impact for kids with disabilities and those from underserved communities." Lily and Ty exchanged curious glances. Robert had been working on something in his home office for weeks but had been secretive about the details. "Today, the board of directors approved my proposal," Robert continued. "Horizon Technologies will be launching a new foundation, the Adaptive Futures Initiative. We'll be funding accessible sports programs, STEM education for underserved communities, and scholarships for students who want to develop technologies that improve accessibility." "Dad, that's amazing," Lily exclaimed. "There's more," Robert said, turning to Diane. "We'd like you to run it. Your experience managing multiple jobs while supporting Ty's education, combined with your new skills in the corporate world, make you uniquely qualified to understand both sides of the equation." Diane's hand flew to her mouth in surprise. "Robert, That's before you worry about nepotism," Robert added quickly. "The board reviewed your qualifications independently. This isn't a favor. It's a recognition of your abilities." "You'd be perfect for it, Mom," Ty said encouragingly. Diane took a deep breath, collecting herself. "I'd be honored to help build something like that." As the adults discussed the details of the new foundation, Lily nudged Ty under the table. "Want to go set up the telescope? There's supposed to be a meteor shower tonight." They slipped away to the backyard, where the spring night was clear and filled with stars. As Ty adjusted the telescope, Lily looked up at the vast expanse of sky, thinking about how much had changed in 6 short months. "Hey, Ty," she said softly, "do you ever think about how weird it is that we met? If everyone had come to my party that day." "But they didn't," Ty replied simply. "And I did. Why did you come?" Lily asked, a question she'd wondered about but never voiced. "Really?" Ty was quiet for a moment, focusing the telescope before answering. "My mom mentioned there was this big party at a house she cleaned, but the kid was in a wheelchair." The way she said it, like that explained why there might not be many people there. He shrugged. "It made me mad. So I made a card and went, just like that." "Because you were mad?" "Because it wasn't fair," Ty corrected. "And because I know what it's like when people only see one thing about you, like being the poor kid, or the kid without a dad, instead of everything else you